Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. The stock market is open. It is Wednesday, so you already know we are buying stocks, we're adding assets to the portfolio, and we are slowly but surely, like we do every single day, building our passive dividend income. So count is looking okay today. Looks like the market is down quite a bit today. Count is actually looking okay, down 1.85% or $642. For the week, we're still up 3.57. For the month, we are basically completely flat, so not bad. 3 months down about 16%. 1 year still up 13.12%, and then all time up 14.97% or about $4,500. So not too bad. This is a dividend portfolio. I am not growth focused in this portfolio. I have other portfolios for that. The main focus here is building a passive dividend income snowball that someday will become so large that it'll pay my mortgage. So that's the goal. As of right now, we have the goalpost out there for $5,000 a month. It's going to take us a long time to get there. It's going to take a lot of incremental steps in the process, and it's going to take more and more cash infusion, which is something we do every single week. So let's talk about it. Let's take a look at it. What stocks are we buying today? What stocks paid us last week? What are the upcoming dividend payments? And I want to talk about this, right? So we've had this graphic out there before. I edited a little bit. I wanted to add something to my dividend kingdom because you guys know that we're tracking our 4 pillars, and that is QDTE, rdte, XDTE, and Ymax. Those are some of my main focuses this year just because I'm throwing a bunch of capital into those. I'm getting them to the place I want them to be, and then I'm going to put them on set it and forget it mode, right? So with all the DTEs, my goal is 250 shares of each of them. We're slowly but surely getting close to that. Some of them in the 230 range, some of them just over the 200 share range. And then Ymax, the goal is 500. We hit 500. We're now on payback mode. And what I mean by that is now I'm just collecting the dividend checks every single week. I'm not reinvesting any more capital into Ymax at the moment. And I'm just taking that money back. I'm reinvesting it elsewhere, or I'm putting it towards my margin account balance. And then the bottom base, you can see VTI and SCHD. Those ones are the backbone and the base of my dividend kingdom because those are the growth component, right? SCHD gives me a little bit of mix between, over 100 companies. It gives me a little bit of that dividend yield, has some great companies in it. And then VTI gives me exposure to the entire market, which long-term should go up and to the right, right? So we continue to put $5 into SHD, $5 into VTI every single day. Then we reinvest all our premiums on all the DTEs. And then we continue to buy more and more until we get to those marks. And then we will start diversifying from theirs. But those are big pillars in the 2025 dividend kingdom that we are continuing to grow. So just want to touch on that real quick. Now, of course, the fun stuff, right? Well, how much have we been getting paid? Where have the dividends been coming from? How did we end the month of April? And was it on par with what we wanted, right? So these are the payments that came in last Friday. MVDY at 67, Ymax 68, XDT 69, QDT at 55, RDT at 63, and then TSW at 867. A little bit down on TSW compared to the one previously, but right in the range I wanted to, and we're just continuing to build that one up. Probably going to get that one to, 50 shares or so, and then we'll see how we like it from there. But we don't have DRIP reinvested on that one. We're just slowly but surely accumulating. So that's where we're sitting on the dividends that came in. I think we got paid all this, roughly about $325 that came in last Friday. And we have over $300 on deck for this Friday as well. So you can see the snowball is building. It's continuing its steam, and we're just going to continue adding to it. So let's jump to the dividend portfolio. Buying power is sitting at 15,805. We have a couple of things out there, right? So I have a BITO. I have 2 calls out there at the 14. We'll see if they get filled. If they don't, I'm not worried about it. We're already above my cost basis on BITO. So if I could squeeze a little extra premium out, we're going to do it into next week. If not, no worries. But I want to try to catch a fill on the high side. You can see if I went for the bid at 13 that it would fill instantly. But for now, we're just going to leave it out at the 14. Maybe if we get a little pump on Bitcoin today or on BITO, we'll get a fill there. The other one, Hood has earnings tonight. I threw out 232 puts at a really, really high limit order. I doubt I'll get a fill, but sometimes when I just have some buying power available, I like to just throw out some cash gear puts just to see if I can get somebody that, I don't know if they accidentally or the large order comes through, but sometimes I just like to throw some hangers out there to see if we can get some crazy fills. So those are 2 options on the table. The other one, the Connell calls, the 23, those ones are looking pretty good, right? Let me see here. Whoops. The Connell calls are looking really good at the 56, and everything I mean, as long as the stock doesn't move like crazy, we should be good to go on those. We have a couple of weeks left, and we'll just let those continue to print. We got paid, what was it, $60 for those calls, and we'll just let them ride. So those are riding, and then this is where the capital is, right? So today, we obviously, of course, if you come down here to the recurring buys, we have the SHD and the VTI, the $5 every single day. So we're just going to continue to keep that one going, and let's see how much we've stacked in there. So if we keep doing this till October of 24th of 2025, we'll put about $1,600 in just by doing the $5 a day. We've invested $105 in the last month, and $1,015 or 39 shares since we started this order back in 2023. So nice to see that. My average price is 26 on the recurring buys. SCHD's current price of 25.68. So SCHD is on sale. So we're just going to continue gobbling up those shares and continue stacking. So I want to talk a couple of things, but first I want to come in here and I want to buy some shares. So we're going to come in here, we're going to go in, we're going to buy some shares. These are the shares we're going to be buying for the week, $67.34. We're going to be buying 2 shares of TSW. Want to stack to that a little bit, and we're doing it on a 4% down day, of course. 1.8% of the portfolio, so a super small percent of the portfolio. We're just trying to stack that weekly dividend with TSW, and average cost is 42.45. So we're down significantly. What, 20% there? Obviously, this isn't including the dividends we've received, but we're still down total return on TSW. But long term, I can't not have a little bit of Tesla exposure in here. Of course, I could just buy the underlying, but this is a dividend portfolio, so we got to go the dividend route. And this is a newer fund, so we're just going to see how this one goes. It's a weekly payer, and so far it's been paying us pretty well. If you look at the dividends, $8, $13, $8. So slowly but surely we're stacking it up. That's the TSW. That's the buy for today. Everything else is going to go towards SHD and VTI on the automatic purchases, and I'm not going to be making any other purchases. So a little bit less this week, but I just want to see where the market's going to go, and I want to get into the next month. So that's the purchases there. I do want to jump into a couple of news events for the week. Of course, let me just pull up my tweet from last night. Boom, right here. This is what I wanted to look at. So Roundhill, it was a triple down. Obviously we have some dividends coming in. They're not terrible. I've seen worse. I've seen better. QDTE coming in at 21.8 cents, down from the 23 cents last week. XDTE coming in at 25 cents, down from the 34 last week. And rdte at 25.2 cents, down from the 31 last week. So we're down on that. It's unfortunate to see it, but sometimes that's how it goes. So we were down on all 3 of those, but we got plenty of time to go. So we'll just see how this next week goes. Hopefully, if the market isn't ripping like crazy, they won't get in the money calls, and they'll be able to manage their positions a little bit better. One I want to talk about, of course, as well, is this, right? Ymax. Ymax has some dividends coming out this week. A couple really important for me, but I'm sure even more important for you guys. For me, CONY, that's one I've been looking at. That's one I own 100 shares of, and that's coming in at $65.10. CVNY, gotta say, it's $2.68. Crazy dividends right there. QDTY, SDTY, and GPTY. If you own those are the dividends there. But for me, the one I'm watching is Ymax, and that is at 17 cents. This is a little bit better. We've had a lot of 12 and 13 cents. So good to see the 17 cents. You guys know I'm not reinvesting premiums in that now. So the higher these are, the more premiums that we get to collect and keep, since we're not reinvesting it, and we'll be able to allocate them to other funds. So going to take that on the Ymax front, and then YMAG coming in at 10 cents there. So let's jump into the spreadsheet. Let's take a look at how April, and I want to take a look at how my $55,000 portfolio did over the month of April, right? You may say, what do you mean you don't have 55 grand? Well, let's keep in mind. So we've got 34, 35, depending on the day in the account. And then we're also using, between $18,000 and $20,000 worth of margin at the moment. A couple of months ago, we were, under 10,000. Right now, we're on the higher end. And I'm probably going to work to get those down. We got assigned on CONL. So that took up a little bit of the margin power. And as these funds continue to pay out, as we continue to get to my share count goals, then we'll reduce the margin exposure. But for now, I'm happy with the $55,000 portfolio on the dividend side of things. And that's what we want to keep in mind, because that's what it's really taking to get paid, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month in dividend income at about a 2.5% dividend, right? So if you just do the math on the on the, $1,300-$1,400 dividend out of the $5,500 portfolio. That's about where we're sitting. So this is where we sat for the month, right? April, some wins, some losses, and overall really good. Our 4 pillars did really good. We'll look at those in a second. BITO was terrible, right? We went from 144 to 72, so that one stung. CONY, that one stung as well, only $43.18. You can see for next month, we're going to be better around that $65 range. JEPQ, we went up because we've been increasing shares. We love to see that. MSTY, about the same. I'm thinking it's going to be really good for May because we have earnings this week on MSTR, and so there's some juiced premiums that I think we're going to be getting on the next MSTY payment. MVDY has just been going down from 173 to 161 to 78 to 67. Hopefully, we do a little bit better going forward. But MVDY has been going down. NVIDIA has been going down. The market has been really rough. So QDT as well, even though we've been increasing our shares, the dividends have been going down. rdte, kind of a similar picture, but we had a much better bounce back month in April. $224 worth of dividends collected there. Comparison to last month, we obviously didn't have SHD or VTI, so we lost about $60 worth of dividends there. So it puts us on par with how we were last month, maybe a little bit better if you subtract the $60 or add the $60 to April if we were to have those two. But one thing to keep in mind, TSLY did better. XDT did better than last month. Ymax also did worse than last month, but still pretty happy with it. And then TSW, we've been increasing this position, so we went from 24 to 54, and I think we're going to go even higher next month. We'll see how it pans out, but eventually I'd like to get this to about $25 a week or about $100 a month in dividend income. But that's where we're at. So the month of April, $1,386.18. That's how much this $55,000 portfolio ended up delivering. And we missed the goal, right? So the goal was $1,526. We ended up below that, so we're about 90% of the way to our goal. That's okay. The annual goal towards $25,000, which is going to be really, really hard to hit. We're about 23% of the way there. So we have some strides to be making. We have some capital we're going to need to add more capital if we want to hit the goal, or we're going to have to allocate less money towards VTI and SHD, which is something I don't want to do. So if we end up missing the $25,000 goal, then it is what it is. But we're just going to continue to stack. We're going to control what we can control, and we're just going to keep adding money to the portfolio, right? So this is what we're looking like for this Friday. Probably around $307, about $50 or some change between all the DTs. Ymax about 87, which is phenomenal. And then CONY coming in at 65. So not too shabby. This is the total dividends we've received since we opened this portfolio, just over 15,000. And this is how it breaks down, right? So we're a little bit short of last year. We're looking a heck of a lot better from last year. In the 2024, we were at 333. In 2023, we're at, gosh, I can't even see it. 2023, we're way lower than that. It doesn't even show up on the register. If we went over to 2023 in April, we are at $14.68. So we're making strides when you look at the overall picture. But I'm glad that we beat February, and I think that we're starting to build a nice base here, right? So that's where we're sitting. Is terms of added capital, $400 added in fresh capital in January, February $2,900. That's because I added an extra $2,500 for fun, and then $400 in March, $400 in April, and that is because we do the $100 of fresh capital every single Monday, and we buy stocks together with that. So that's where we're sitting there. If all things stay on par and we continue to grow at the trajectory I have over here at the right, we're looking at probably about $23,000 worth of dividend income. Of course, some of these stocks could go crazy and we could end up getting some nice juicy premiums on the call sides, and then we get some extra dividend income, and then boom, we're at the 25,000. But things are going to have to align, and we're going to have to stay super diligent. So that's where we're sitting there. When it comes to, let me pull this. When it comes to the weekly dividends, how are we looking, right? So the market's rallied back actually quite a bit, but I do want to talk about some of the dividends and how they're doing against all-time averages, right? So QDT, and over the last 4 weeks, about 21 cents, all-time average 29, so we're down there. XDT is actually performing really well over the last 4 weeks, paid out 26 cents a share, and the all-time average is 25. rdte at 26, and all-time at 29. So down on RT, down on QDT, but XDT performed really well over the last month. So that's good to see. When we look at the total return, QDT's total return, we're back to the green. So that's good to see. Obviously, you want the numbers to look a lot better in this, but I'm glad that at least total return is back to the green. Only 0.35%, but at the end of the day, I'll take it all day long. As long as we're in the green, we can build from there. And the shares continue to stack now up to 231. We're getting close. 19 shares would probably be, I don't know, about 10 weeks, and then we'll hit the 250 share mark. We'll turn drip off, and we'll continue, and then we'll start the journey of paying this one totally back. Similar picture here with XDTE. We're about minus 0.35% or down $34 total return. So basically break even, which is nice to see because the market still has a long ways that it could rally back when we're looking at SPY, right? rdte is not looking much better than that. It's down 6.25% or $523. Even though we've collected the $1,281 worth of dividend income, we are down about $1,800 on the shares. So deficit there. And then Ymax, this one's fun. Now that we've hit the 500 shares, we're just on payback mode. So we're down about $352 total return. And then payback mode over here, we're on $8,329 left until Ymax shares are completely paid for by themselves. And yeah, you can see we're not reinvesting the drip and we're staying at the 500. So that's where we're sitting at Ymax. Overall picture wise, if you're interested in that, QDTE still trending down around that 29.4 cents. XDT is trending up at the 25.3 cents. rdte is trending down at the 29 cents. And then Ymax is trending down as well, as about 17.8 cents is the average. You can see this last one came in at the average, but before that, we were just getting hit with some really, really low ones. 13 cents, 13 cents, 12 cents, 17 cents, 13 cents, 15 cents, 10 cents. So Ymax needs to get it under control. They need to get the dividends back up. They need to take care of the NAV. And hopefully the fund managers will do that. So that's the weekly dividends. The last one I want to talk about is the 4 pillars. We talked about it earlier. How did the 4 pillars do? Because this is where we have a bulk of our capital. Well, they actually did really good for April, right? So March, $876 of dividends. In April, we did $927 worth of dividends. So we're on the way up there. We're close to... yeah, I mean, almost the all-time high, right? So January is 987, April is 927, and December was 972. So I'm actually really happy with the payments there. If we look at how the top outs, obviously we had some massive weeks sprinkled in throughout here, some in December, which were the year ends, and then we had that 262, 262, and then this week 256. But a really good increase over the 197 on 411 and 210 on 418. So it's good to see the 4 pillars are continuing to move. We're closer to that line that we want to be at. And yeah, as long as we're above a 200, I'm pretty happy there, especially because we're now not putting any more money into Ymax. We should see a little bit of a decline there because we're not increasing our share count at all. The other 3 are increasing share counts, but we are not reinvesting any more capital into Ymax. So hopefully we can get a nice average here to start hovering out, and especially when we get all the other ones to 250. So that's the update for the week. That's the update with the portfolio. Really a good, let me come back here. Really a good month. Pretty happy with the month. Pretty happy with how the dividends came in, and I'm pretty happy with how the portfolio is slowly but surely starting to build in 2025 with $5,757 worth of dividend income so far. We're in a really good track to have some record-breaking year and a record-breaking portfolio. So, of course, everybody, thank you as always for tuning in. Hopefully your dividend portfolios are continuing to grow. The passive income is building, and you're building that dollar or two that you're making every single hour with the dividend income. So happy investing. We'll catch you next time.